I'm here at CES 2026 in the Asus booth where they have sponsored this video to show off their new laptops. But what they don't know is that my plan is to immediately disassemble every single one of them. So this is the brand new G14. It has a great screen, 1100 nits. I don't care, I'm taking it apart. Even though the G14 started off as an AMD exclusive, this new one right here only uses Intel for it, so they're new Panther Lake processors. After 9 T5 screws, we are able to get in, I think. Oh no, did they hide one? 4 seconds into this video and I might already break something. They have hidden screws. I'm very sorry, Asus, it's probably never gonna go back in the same. Aha. Okay, here we go, here we go. All right, 11 T5 screws later, and we are able to get in. Here we go. In here we can see that we have 4 heat pipes, and the entire cooler is actually identical to the last generation, but Asus has been able to get an additional 25 watts of total system power by simply optimizing the airflow and stuff. So like, do you see this little foam right here and the gasket? That helps out. They also have optimized the intakes and added a whole bunch of grills right here. That gives you a little bit extra, and also just optimizing the way that the heat sinks are able to push air out. All of that gets you 25 more watts, which is pretty darn good for not even changing any of this. Also, under the heat sink, we're going to have an Intel Core Ultra 9 386H and also up to an NVIDIA RTX 5080. So this thing should be pretty darn powerful. Now the I/O is largely unchanged. We get a nice blend of Thunderbolt, USB-A, HDMI, but the thing I am very excited about is it now has a full-size SD card reader. So we can take this guy and, if I get it the right way, just put it in like that. But as you can see, it does stick out quite a bit. Now this is because they actually have a brand new extra small SD card reader. So you can see this is the one in the G14, and this is the one they have in the G16. So it's a brand new part, and I really appreciate the way that they were able to get it into this tiny little guy right here. Wow! In here we can also look at the upgradability. So we have a removable Wi-Fi card, love to see that. Removable SSD, although only one of them, and also a 73 watt-hour battery. So that is the same as last generation, but apparently Intel Panther Lake should be quite a bit more efficient. So you should have similar efficiency to Lunar Lake, which in my previous testing has gotten like 24 hours of battery life, which is absolutely insane. You won't see that in this because it's a gaming laptop, but it should be a nice little improvement. One thing that isn't upgradable is the RAM. So we can see we have the chips right here. They are soldered down, which is faster, and that's nice, but at the same time, SODIMM or CAM would be really good to see, even though you would have a performance hit. Also, that's what a Panther Lake die looks like. I guess we should probably put it back together. They'd probably appreciate that. Oh, you need to plug it in. There we go. Beauty. It always scares the crap out of me when they don't turn on, because these you have to plug them in when you take the bottom off because of reasons. They don't want you accidentally destroying the computer. It's a safety thing. Now that we have the laptop back on, we can have a look at this OLED panel. It's 1000 nits, 120 hertz, and also full DCI-P3, or yes, 100%, not even 99. That's a really nice panel right there. It was pretty great before. This retains the 960 hertz emission rate, so you can have G-Sync on an OLED. Almost no one else has that. Does anyone else have that? I think no one else has G-Sync on an OLED.
So we did the firmware together with Samsung and NVIDIA. Others may be using the same firmware, but nobody's talking about it, so no, nobody else.
Hopefully we got audio for that. Moving on to the G16, we can see it is an absolutely beautiful laptop, and let's turn it off and take it apart. Once again, 11 T5 screws, and we are in. In here we can see this massive vapor chamber, which once again is the same as last generation, but for this year they have been able to get an extra 30 watts of it for a total of 160 watts of total system power. And that's simply by like, you see all these little vents right here? They had a whole bunch of little vents on the back, and they got 30 watts with that. Holy frig. In here we can also see we have a removable Wi-Fi card, 2 SSD slots, love to see that, and also a 90 watt-hour battery. And again, when paired with Panther Lake, that should give you a nice little bump in battery performance, even though the battery itself is the same size. For performance, we once again get an Intel Core Ultra 9 386H, but this one is paired with up to an RTX 5090, which can be really great for creators or people that need AI workloads or stuff like that because of the extra VRAM. Okay, did I kill it? I didn't! On the G16, you also get a 1000 OLED panel, while this one has a refresh rate of 240 Hertz with G-Sync, so your gaming's gonna be pretty freaking good. Also some stuff that Asus is very proud of. Apparently, even though it shouldn't hit the table, sometimes this spot right here would hit against stuff, so they add a little bit of rubber so that you won't be damaging the back of your laptop all the time. And also, they have enhanced how many zones the little light on the back has, which I don't care too much about that. But they also added a cover over it so that dust doesn't get into the back of your laptop. Big improvement. Moving on to the TUF Gaming A14. This guy right here is the laptop that I said was the best gaming laptop of 2025, and they haven't changed a whole lot, so it's probably going to do pretty good in 2026 if we're honest, but there is one big change. So this one right here is an AMD Ryzen processor, an RTX 5060, very cool, but this one over here does not have a dedicated GPU, and you might be thinking, isn't this a gaming laptop? Why the hell doesn't it have a dedicated GPU? Well, because this has AMD's Strix Halo processors, their AI Max Plus series. If you aren't aware, AMD's Strix Halo processors have an absolutely bonkers sized GPU on it. So even though it is technically an integrated GPU, it can get you performance similar to that of like a 5060. And also what's really cool is it has unified memory. So this right here has 32 gigabytes of RAM, and you can put as much of that as you want towards the GPU. So even though it might not give you much more performance in games than a 5060, for professional tasks or AI tasks or stuff like that, you can put way more memory towards the GPU, and it can make your stuff a lot faster in specific use cases. I want you to come apart. There we go. Haha. In here we can see we have a great big cold plate, not just for our CPU, but also for that unified memory, which I'm guessing gets a little bit warm. We also have 2 SSD slots, so one right there, one over here that's not populated, and also removable Wi-Fi again. I absolutely love to see that. Previously with AMD's Strix Halo processors, you're only able to get the Super Baller integrated GPU, like the 40CU model, with the 16-core CPU, and that meant that it was very expensive, like obscenely expensive in many situations. But now AMD has it, so you can get that super high tier integrated GPU with the 40 CUs, but with either a 12 or an 8-core processor to bring that price down at least a little bit. It's not going to be cheap, but apparently this is now about $100 less than the 5060 and Ryzen 9 version. In here we also have a 73 watt-hour battery, which remains the same as last generation, but again, CPUs are getting better, you should get a little bit more battery life. 3 for 3, not too bad. For the display, it's 2.5K, 165 Hertz, and a peak brightness of 500 nits. So even though the IPS isn't going to be as vibrant and impressive as what you got on those Zephyruses, this also isn't as expensive as those Zephyruses, so makes sense. Oh, I just got given the motherboard for the A14, and this is so sweet. So we can see this right here. There is the die. That right there and that right there, those are your CPUs. That is all GPU down there in the middle. Look at how freaking big that is. Again, this guy's gonna be super fast. It beats the Ryzen 9 non-AI Max Plus because all of this memory right here is unified and super fast. Moving on, here we have the Zephyrus Duo, and to begin taking it apart, don't even have to turn it off. Let's just slip that in there. And there's a whole other screen. On the Zephyrus Duo, you get 2 16-inch panels. They're actually the same one that came on the G16, and you can turn it to the side just like this. Do I have a kickstand? And just like that, you can have a 21-inch display on the go. That looks wild. Oh, this is crazy. Andy, would you want this for editing? You could have your whole like video up here, timeline down here. It's pretty sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. It also has a touch screen, which you don't normally see on gaming laptops, so I personally really appreciate that. And of course, we have had this on for too long. Okay, this is really awesome. You don't even have to take the entire thing apart if you want to get to your SSDs. So you can just come in here. There's 2 T5 screws, and we can see there's one that's populated right there and another one that you can just upgrade super easily. This one seems a bit more complicated. How the heck? So you look here, I can like get this in there. I could pry around. I'm sorry guys, we're not going into this one. You can get your SSDs right here, and otherwise you're not getting into this thing. One problem that you constantly have in laptops is the fact that your processor and GPU and stuff can really heat up your keyboard. Now, on the other Zephyruses, they solve that by putting some ventilation straight through the keyboard, and that allows you to have a really nice and cool time on your hands. But with this right here having an entire screen, you obviously cannot perforate that. So across the whole back of it, they have a graphite sheet to dissipate the heat and make sure that the touchscreen isn't getting too hot, which is not just bad for your hands and comfort, but also very bad for OLED panels. And I suspect that that means that if we tried to take it apart, the whole thing would explode and we'd have a really bad time. And again, this has up to an Intel 386H, the Panther Lake one, and an RTX 5090. So that's a lot of power for 2 screens and a pretty thin laptop. Damn. Moving on, we have a tablet, the Flow Z13. Now, this has the exact same processor as before, an AMD Strix Halo with 128 gigabytes of RAM that you can put 96 gigabytes of that just to the GPU, so this thing is an AI monster. But what is new is they teamed up with Kojima Productions for what has to be one of the most complete reskins of a laptop. So you can see right here, the keyboard looks sick, and the back of it looks even more sicker. Wow, they have done an excellent job making this look very, very sweet. Unfortunately, disassembly wise, there isn't a whole lot that we can do here. You can see that there's one screw right there to look at the SSD. You also technically can take off this carbon fiber panel right here, but there's just aluminum underneath it. You're not getting anything. So looks sweet, but we can't disassemble it, so that's too bad. And finally, we have the ROG G1000, the answer to wanting a gaming desktop after you just won the lottery. On the front and the side, they have what's called their Anime Holo. So this is a persistence of vision display, and it's basically like a little rotating thing. I can turn it off and we can have a look here. One moment. You can see here that it's a bunch of LEDs that get spun around, and by firing them at the right time, you can create an image that just floats in space, and it's so freaking cool. Now on the front here, they do have some 200mm fans there back in there, but the holograms are not attached to the fans. I have seen this in the past, but you have a bunch of problems where when your fan RPM changes, your hologram effect changes. So by just having it totally separate, they're able to have this spin at a constant RPM. The math's way easier. It just makes sense. Also, this thing's freaking vast. Up top, they have what they call their thermal atrium, which is basically a 420mm rad, but it has this little intake right here, so it's not sharing its air with any of the other components. So the GPU and the CPU cooling are kept completely separate. In here, we can also see that we have a 5090 and a 9950 X3D, so absolute top of the line gaming hardware. And unfortunately, we don't know how much it costs or how much anything costs, because Sam Altman really needs to have a bunch of random AI generated crap of him on the internet instead of us getting RAM because he's a dickhead. So huge thanks to Asus for sponsoring this video. Hit like, get subscribed, and of course, have a great old day. I'll see you at the next booth, which is actually this one over there.